whistling, no boost. Hey guys, and welcome to another day on the shop. Today, we're getting this done. You're going to see it driving by the end of the video, if you didn't already see it. Okay, so you saw this mess still. Well, I was doing a leak down test on it and found a couple of leaks. So we're past that now. I got to button all this back up. I got it tuned. I've got it timed, I know. Fixed a couple wiring issues, moved my wideband, my O2 sensor. I had a lower control arm on the driver or passenger side that was pretty bad off. See, here it is. Yeah, I had to work on it for a bit. Then come to find out my knuckles are S14, not S13, so they're a little bit thicker at the bottom. If you ever want to know if you have an S13 or S14 front end or spindle with possible conversion for 5-lug, just measure it. The S13 is always smaller. Whenever you're going to put a ball joint on there for an S13 and it's an S14, it's not going to match up very well. So you got to kind of customize. So, but like I said, everything's getting buttoned up. And then over here, I have new stuff. I've got a new flywheel from Luke. It's a D21 flywheel. And then I got a Exetti clutch from a 280ZX. They say that they hold pretty good power. So I'm not going to be pushing like 400 or 500 horsepower with this. But that's supposed to give her standard fill. It's a little bit heavier flywheel, but who cares? It's not like I'm racing. So, but it fits. And so that means the transmission in here has to be pulled back, and then I also have a piece of drive shaft with a new center bearing that needs to be put in. So that's what we're about to hop into down here and get it done. So good updates. Like I said, with the tuning, I'm still trying to figure it out. I've had a couple of air leaks, so I think that's my issue. I'm not sure yet, but it's been running really rich. I can't start it right now because there's some JB weld in some places. So that's how I roll. But and I replaced this with an actual spring coupler or band, whatever you want to call that. Alright, well, I'm going to get down here and pull this transmission out. So, I'll let you know when I do. Because y'all don't really need to see that there's like 6 bolts holding it in. It's not all of them. And then drop the drive shaft, which I'm pulling out anyway. And just the transmission cross member. That's all I'm doing. And then as soon as I do that, pull off the flywheel, pull off the clutch, swap them, put it all back together, put the drive shaft new part back in, and I'm done. And then we take this for a drive. So let's go. All right, well, last night I got the drive shaft out. I've already replaced all that I need to replace. These are 12mm bolts, these are 19s, and these are 14s back here. So what I did was I took my whole entire drive shaft out and then started pulling everything off. To get these off and then on, I used my vise, gripping it right here, and just pulled everything off. This thing doesn't look 100% the best, but it looks a heck of a lot better than the one that was on it. So, yeah, I gotta pull the rear of the shaft for the transmission back out and put this in there. Because I didn't want it to leak and it was dripping. Then we found something else out. My clutch doesn't match up to my flywheel. I got a 225 millimeter, I need a 240 millimeter. So I've got to send that back and get me a 240 millimeter clutch. But in the meantime, I'm going to probably just casually drive this. I'm not going to put the power down because the fact that my clutch won't handle it. I'm going to get this drive shaft back in. And I need to order some brakes as well, because my brakes up front, Z32 and R32 are two different size rotors. Z32 are just a hair smaller. They're about 5 millimeters, 10 millimeters smaller than the R32. I have R32 front calipers on here, so they're just a little bit more, they're a little bit higher. So I'm missing the pad by a couple millimeters, which sucks. So I'm going to order some new pads. I'm on the lookout. I don't really feel like spending $300 on a set of rotors, possibly even used rotors for the front of this thing. So I'm going to keep the 300ZX front rotors right now. If I ruin another set of pads, I ruin them. But I will eventually get the ones I need. So my boost leak tester, I tested everything. Everything looks grand. My blow-off valve opens up before I even can pressurize this thing too much. So I put a whole lot of pressure in here and it just leaked down from the blow-off valve. The last thing I possibly need to do is just trim this wire down, because as you see, this wire is horrendously long. So I don't know which way I want to go, either that side or this side. It's probably going to be this side, so I can figure a little different way out how I have this, and I'll make it better. But everything else is looking good. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to get this thing off and maybe take it for a rip, or just play with it and see if I can get the air fuel ratio a little bit higher, because right now it's running 10 at idle, and that's no boost, no nothing, and that's turned way down on the injectors. So I got to turn them down even further to see if that will help. These are supposed to be 370cc injectors. That's what I was told when I bought them, but I don't know. I also had an air leak in 2 spots for that. So let's make sure that everything goes a little bit better now. So back to it. Alright, so the bolt is in there. It's holding everything good and tight. Put a piece of heat shrink on here so it doesn't touch anything ground out. And now I'm going to bolt the one back up here. And I'm thinking about putting a piece of heat shrink over that as well, if I can make it work. So, alright, it's time for the drive shaft. So I've got to pull the output shaft, or input, the spline shaft out of the back of the transmission, and run over here, hook up the guibo to it, and once I do that, tighten it down, put it back in there so I don't leak too much more transmission fluid, and then I can bolt everything back in. It's not hard to get one of these out if you've never gotten one of these out. 4 bolts in the back, 2 bolts in the middle for the carrier bearing, and then you have a slip in the front, so the spline slip just pops out. Has a lot of pieces instead of just being a one piece. A one piece would be so much easier. If you don't know what a one piece drive shaft is, that's a 2-piece. A one piece has one end that goes in the transmission, a pipe that goes all the way down to the rear end. That's all it is. So one pieces are better. I have a one piece for this because it goes to that engine setup and transmission setup. I don't have a one piece for this. I want to get one day. I just don't have one. So I'm gonna hustle. Drive shaft's in. Every tool and everything else is pulled out from up under the car. Everything is put away the way it needs to. I do want to do a heat shield. I've talked about that because this is very close and it gets very hot to all this, and I really need something there. So my only next possibility is grabbing one of my firefighter tags, I guess, and putting it in there just for the time being and zip tying it, so it just creates a shield of some sort. It's not the greatest, but it'll work. But everything else looks good right now. I'm gonna see if I can play with this tune and see what it does. So I'm gonna crank this thing and hopefully it starts right off the bat, and then go from there. So let's play with this tune. All right, so right now I'm just looking through the SAFC to see if I can change a couple of things, like on low throttle. On low throttle, go all the way over to 1,000. It's at 35. See if I can make that 45 and see if that has any change in what I'm trying to do. As well as, let's see, I can actually, I'm going to make an any point, and I'm going to change this 1,000. Cancel. I'm going to change this 1,000 to 800. Alright, and that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to see how that works. And we'll go to monitor, channel 1, correction, right there. Let's see if we can start this. Doesn't sound too bad right now. Now it's sitting at 11, 11.2, 11.1, and it drops all the way down. And it's running really rich again. So the correction is at 37 right now. Which is because it's at 1,200 RPMs. 1,100. Alright, I'm going to play with this and let y'all know what goes on. Alright, so my tune and everything is working its way out. We got 13 on the dash. Still kind of a little bit rich for it just sitting here. So let's button. We're going to take it down to the gas station, put some premium in it, see how that works. Everything else looks good. The paint on the exhaust manifold, I don't know why anybody would paint it, especially that nasty like teal green, just burning off slowly. So got that. Got my trusty handy dandy fire extinguisher. Go big or go home. So we're going to take a little trip and see how everything looks from the standpoint of just driving to the gas station. So yeah. What we're going to venture and do real quick, move it out of the way because I got another project coming in, and it's a little bit of a series. Let's get in here. Okay, back up. That didn't feel good. Grinding everything. This thing's being super rich. fueled up. I need to work on my clutch a little bit more. My brakes are not as tight as they used to be. Ran a little bit rich right off the get-go. Alright. Everything's looking good, so let's get on. Scraping too bad. All right. Let's investigate. Get all that smoke. Well, I don't see anything right offhand. Let's investigate some more. Well, I can't find a coupler that's off. So, start it up and see if I can get some more choo-choo. Whoop. Out of gear. Stuck. First drive, successful. I need a new turbo. I think the shaft or the impeller broke. It's an old turbo, hasn't been used in a long time. Let it warm up, got in a little bit of boost. It wasn't even probably 5 psi, and now I'm not getting any boost, and there's some metal clanking going on in the turbo. So, the joys. I guess I'll be ordering me another turbo and try and slap it all together and make it work. Oh well. On to the next thing. Hey, it didn't catch on fire. And I made it to the gas station and back without having to do anything else. Problem is I don't have a turbo anymore. So I'll have to delve into that after this other situation that I have going on and figure that out, because I'm going to have to put some money together and buy another turbo. So thanks for joining into another short episode of the shop, and yeah, if you like this kind of stuff, make sure you like and subscribe. Check out Teespring for some merch. Hit us up on Instagram and TikTok. That's where some other things are. So thanks again. Till next time.